Hello, my name is Ashley Scher. I'm the founder and CEO of Share Love Fund. Today we're going to do a 10-minute meditation for incarcerated women, and it is called Forgiving Your Father, Healing Internal Conflict About Your Dad. So let us begin. So here, let us just backtrack to when we were infants. When we were infants, we were entirely at the mercy of our environment. We had no emotional boundaries. Like sponges, we picked up everything from our parents' energy as if it were our own. And we absorbed the vibration of all of their emotional patterns. As we learned to walk and talk, we began to emulate those quirks, habits, and communication styles and beliefs. By the time we hit puberty, we inevitably became like our parents to a large extent. We may not like that, but we all picked up habits. Even though we do also have our own unique spin. Once we reach our 20s, for those of you that have reached your 20s, we began to make our own way in the world and start to find out what traits we've adopted and what of those traits will work out for us. Specifically, we learn whether the emotional patterns that we picked up from our parents lead to good relationships or cause us problems. That's the way things work on the unconscious level. We absorb patterns early on, find out which ones get in our way when we become adults, and typically we have to work hard to change those patterns. Sometimes we're working on it for the rest of our lives, and there's always something to work on for self-optimization. That's the fun of life. Meanwhile, we try not to pass the negative parts down the line to our children, often with mixed results. It can take several generations or more to remove a negative pattern to get ironed out. When we're in the middle of the process, it could seem like we're not getting anywhere. But when viewed over time, we are getting better. And it is important to stay positive, and it is important to believe that we can change, because without that initial belief, it's hard to motivate to actually make that change real. Evolution of consciousness tends to be a long-term group effect. And through meditation and self-awareness, we can try to speed up this process. Growing up and far from the nest, it's not uncommon to find our own selves feeling these unresolved feelings of anger, sadness, and even fear toward our parents. These emotional patterns play out in our relationships with everyone else in our lives. As we unconsciously try to resolve our father and mother issues with each new person we meet, often leading to frustration and disappointment. A much better approach is to deal directly with the way we feel about our parents and clear up those issues at the source. And by the source, I don't mean our parents, because it's the feelings within us that need to change. We can't change them, but we can change how it impacts us. We can use all those feelings to be a driving force to make us the best version of ourselves. Forgiveness is all about healing the forgiver. It doesn't matter whether your parents are still alive. By letting go of negativity toward them, we can move on finally with our lives. As with all personal growth, it is an inside job. This meditation will help you forgive your father, release stored negativity, and open up a clear space inside for you. You can use this meditation whenever or whomever has stood as the most prominent figure in your life. So maybe there's been a father figure and you want to use this for them. It doesn't need to be a biological father. You'll probably notice an immediate effect from this meditation. However, using this meditation over time can lead to continued effects. Let us begin. Please make yourself comfortable by taking a comfortable seated position. You can have your eyes closed or a soft gaze. Take a slow, deep breath and let go of any tension. As you feel yourself sinking into the surface you're resting on, notice how your body becomes still more relaxed. Take another slow, deep breath and release your thoughts, letting them drift away. Take another slow, deep breath and know that in this moment, all is well. Imagine yourself walking down the street in a friendly city, carrying an umbrella on a rainy weekday afternoon. You have some time on your hands, and when you spot a movie theater, you decide to see what's playing. It's an old theater with ornate colored scroll work and a big marquee overhead, though the marquee is blank. There's a ticket booth in front, and as you walk up, you find it empty, but there's a note taped to the window. The note has your name on it, followed by the words, "Come in." Puzzled but anxious to get out of the rain, you enter the lobby, find it empty also, and approach the swinging doors into the theater. You step into the beautiful old movie room with ornate wall decorations, thickly upholstered seats, carpet with swirling patterns, a maroon velvet curtains covering a large screen, and you are the only person there. So you find a seat wherever you wish and you get comfortable. The curtains part, the house lights dim, and the screen fills with your father's name, followed by the subtitle, "The Early Years." As the film begins, you can see it's a home movie. The print is a bit scratchy and worn, possibly even in black and white. There's your dad, and as an infant, being held by his own mother. Notice whether his father is in the scene and what he is doing. How does his father seem to behave? And what is his attitude towards your father as a baby? Does it seem like your father is being well cared for by both his parents? The scene changes, and now your father's a toddler, just as vulnerable as you were at that age. You can see him looking up at his parents for love and reassurance, perhaps unsure of receiving it. His parents may be attentive, or maybe they might be busy with other things. Watch for a moment and see how it goes. Now he's a young boy. Perhaps he's picking his own father's traits, or maybe his dad isn't in the picture at all. He may not have much exposure to his father, and what he has may or may not be positive. But you can see that as he grows into his teenage years, he's got challenges. Things are not always easy, and life isn't perfect. Take a moment to watch things unfold. Now your father becomes a young adult, learning to make his way in the world with faults and fears and strengths and weaknesses like everyone else. He's a human being shaped by his family and the events that happen to him, doing the best that he can. Watch him move through life in this movie for a bit as you see how it feels to be in his shoes. This teaches us compassion. The scene fades at this point and the movie stops for a moment, and as you sit in the theater, you notice that you're feeling a little differently about your father. With a new perspective, he was your dad, but also he was a man, in some ordinary, perhaps in some unique, but with his life full of its own challenges and concerns. Of course, he fell short of being the perfect father, but really there is no perfect father. And he did the best he could under the circumstances that shaped him as a person. Take a moment to do your best to feel empathy for him and his struggle in life. The movie begins again, but this time it's not a home movie, but more of a Hollywood production in full color. This movie is about what your dad would have liked for your life to be together if it could have been. You're about to enter the picture, and there he's with your mother when you're born. He's holding you in his arms, totally focused on you, gently rocking you and speaking quietly and telling you how glad he is to see you. There you are together a little later when you're learning to walk, and he's holding your hand and catching you and helping you up when you fall down. He talks with you and encourages you and hugs you and lets you know how much he loves you by both his actions and his words. He's your dad, and he makes you feel safe and good. Now you see yourself as 7 years old, sitting around the family dinner table next to your dad. He looks happy, and he looks at you and he smiles. The two of you are talking about something, maybe joking around a little bit, and there's an easy, comfortable feeling between you. But he's still your dad, and you know that whatever happens, he'll be there for you. He lets you know what the boundaries are, and he lets you know what to expect and how to behave. And because of all that, you admire and respect him just as he loves and appreciates you. But now you're a teenager and your father, and you are doing something together that you both enjoy. Perhaps something he taught you or introduced you to. That easy feeling and good connection is still there between you two. And you're having a conversation now, and he's listening to what you have to say, taking it in. He says something back, and that lets you know that he understands and supports you, and perhaps has a suggestion you feel good about. The movie ends at this point. The house lights come on a little bit, and you feel someone sitting down next to you. You turn, and it is your father there in the theater on this rainy day afternoon. He's not perfect, but he's real, and he's your father. Take some time to be with him now, and let your time together unfold peacefully. Say whatever you need to say to your father now, and as he listens and understands you, perhaps as never before. You can pause this meditation to take a moment. I do have to keep it short so it can be uploaded in the custodial situation. Now your father has a chance to speak to you, to perhaps say things he will never be able to say. That would be most important for you to hear. As you sit in the theater on this rainy afternoon, you may notice that your feelings towards your father have softened and lightened and become more neutral. Your father will always remain a part of you, but you are a very different person than he, and you are free to be yourself and live your life as the unique individual that you are. If your father had the freedom of spirit to allow it, he would surely want it that way. It will soon be time to bring this journey to a close, but first take a moment to thank your father for bringing you into the world and for passing down to you all the good things that he did. And take time to thank yourself for giving yourself this gift. Bring your awareness gently back to your physical surroundings. Take your time, and when you're ready, gently open your eyes and feel awake, refreshed, and alert. Namaste.